Hey there, folks. Welcome again to Shelf Life. I'm Kimberly Dykeman. Now, every time you tune in to us, we are delivering to you some of the most amazing books that are hitting the shelves today. Thought-provoking and heart-wrenching and totally inspiring. And today is no different. We bring you the real people, the real purpose, and real perspective behind these books. The gentleman joining us today will just get under your skin. His name is Derek Steele. The book is called Addict at 10. It is a true story of survival and transformation. And please give a warm welcome to my guest, Derek Steele. Derek, welcome to Shelf Life. First of all, people are going to look at you and go, that's a sharp-looking man. He's got a great suit on, accomplished self-made millionaire, speaker, author. And by the way, you were addicted to drugs at the age of 10.
Yes.
How do people get their arms around that?
Well, I didn't look like this.
I guess
definitely
not.
didn't look like this. Well, you know, the family that I grew up in and the dynamics that I grew up with, I had parents that used drugs and alcohol abusively. My sister used drugs and alcohol. Everybody that I surrounded myself with used drugs and alcohol. So in the world that I came from, it was really what was normal for me.
So you were addicted to drugs at the age of 10. This became part of your nutrition. And it obviously, going through the book, it threw curveballs and everything in relationships, in getting through and going to school, and yet you were pretty much married to it from age 10 all the way through to 20. So paint a little bit of a picture of what that meant like, what that looked like at the age of 13 or 16 for that matter, a drug-filled life. What does that look like?
Well, it's progressive, and you hear that a lot, that, you know, pot is a gateway drug, leads you to harder drugs, and for me that was the truth, and it is in a lot of cases. So it went from alcohol and pot at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 ecstasy and acid, which are harder drugs, 14 cocaine, which my first cocaine came out of my dad's briefcase, and like I said, it's a family illness. Yeah. And so that's when things got really, really crazy. I mean, I was already out of control, but I put out of control on like full throttle. And so cocaine 15, crack 16, and then ended up getting kicked out of school, getting kicked out of my dad's house. That's when I began living on my own. So hotels and friends' houses, and it just insanity. I started dealing drugs to feed my habit. That was at 13, and continued on that path until at 20 I ended up homeless, living in a car and trying to figure out how to. I'd been sentenced for a felony and was in violation of that, so I was going to be sent to TDC, Texas Department of Corrections, for 5 years. So I was trying to escape. I just knew I'd be dead or in jail inside of a year.
Right. Give us a scenario so we can actually put these two images next to each other. What that looked like next to the guy that we're looking at today, this straight up wonderful man.
Nobody can imagine it other than, obviously, the people that saw me.
Right.
It's fairly gruesome. I guess one of the horrible times that stands out for me is I had stolen a half a kilo of cocaine from a major drug dealer, and I skipped town because I knew he would kill me if he caught me. A half a kilo of cocaine is a lot of cocaine. And so I moved to Dallas. I weighed about 165 pounds, which is what I weigh now when I moved there. And for 3 months, I didn't hardly leave my apartment at all. And all I did was snort and smoke all of this coke. So I get down to about 120 pounds. I mean, I'm skinny now, so 25% of my body weight was gone. I was having allergic reactions to the coke because my immune system was so destroyed. So I'm popping Benadryl in one hand and snorting coke in the other hand just to try and get the coke into my system and not have this. I mean, it was breaking out in hives.
Right.
It was a really, really dark time, very, very dark time. And I couldn't stop.
Your entire, all you knew was drugs and getting away with stuff and getting lucky in a lot of situations, and you end up at literally a dead end. And that was an aha for you, right? Tell me about that.
Well, what had happened is we call it a moment of clarity. I say we, us recovering alcoholics and addicts. And what that means is that we live in this world with this paradigm of who we are and how the world operates, and it's a way that we justify and rationalize our behavior.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I had lived this lie that what I was doing was normal, was okay, was, you know, everybody does it, and in a lot of ways that was true for me because my family used and my friends, I mean, everybody around me, so I had somewhat created this whole world to insulate my behavior.
Right.
And in that moment of clarity, God was gracious enough to show me the truth, and it was painful. I mean, it was like the worst thing I'd ever seen. I never, when I was a little kid, I didn't sit around thinking, oh, I want to be a junkie, felon,
Right.
high school dropout when I'm 20.
Right, right.
I thought of being a heart surgeon or a fireman or something like that. And here I was homeless and in a major drug deal that probably would have put me behind bars for 25,
If not
30 years.
6 feet under.
So I
right?
saw the truth that day about who I was, what I had done, and where I was going, which was dead or in jail. And I walked out of that place, and I told the people that, you know, I was doing this deal with, I said, you'll never see me again. And I had no idea what I was going to do or how I was going to escape. But along with that truth that I got that day, I also got something inside of me that said, there's another way. And so that's when I began searching.
So at the age of 20, you hit the wall, you have this aha, and you dive in and do the work, as you said, on yourself. 5 years later, your partner in a software company, you're rolling and going as a businessman. What is that transition like? Because, I mean, that kept you going down the path of hard work, maybe addiction to work for that matter, to self-made millionaire. What was that 5-year amazing shift? How did that happen?
Well, you find out how to be very resourceful as an addict to try and survive. And so, oddly enough, I took some of the same characteristics of fighting and surviving and being resourceful to try and get my needs met and applied that in life and in business. So, and I had a lot of great opportunities that came my way because of people that I had met that are also sober and that are a part of the fellowship of my 12-step program. And we all support each other. So I had good opportunities, and everybody knew that I was a hard worker, resourceful, and a make-it-happen kind of person.
So all this hard work is paying off, and you go at it for 15 solid years, and during that time you get married, right? You find your sweetheart, and you get to the point where you actually are committed to business, and to the point where you can actually sell one and start another. And tell us about that 15-year wonderful flow, but that also led you to another hiccup, so to speak.
What happened is for 5.5 years, I was so intensely focused on this last company, and I just got so immersed in chasing the almighty dollar. And in that process, I didn't chase the almighty. It was all about business and acquiring stuff, and bought really what society tells us, that this car, this house, this amount of money, you know, this wife, these kids is where the fulfillment's at. And then I achieved that, and it was like a mirage. I hit an emotional and spiritual bottom and almost drank again.
And you were about to screw it all up, essentially. Why didn't you?
I can't take credit for it. I really can't, because in my mind, I had said, the heck with it, I'm just going to go drink again. And I didn't. I called my sponsor and spoke to him, who's been with me and supporting me for over 15 years. And he said, hit your knees, pray, and then get out and help somebody. You've got to get out and help somebody. That's the only place you're going to find fulfillment.
Right.
And I knew that, but that's what I did the first 10 years.
Right.
And then I just drifted away. And so that's where I'm at now. I know that the fulfillment that I want and the peace and the joy that I want is going to come through service and a connection with God. That's the only thing that's going to fill that hole that's inside of me. And so I've decided to dedicate my life to it. This is what I want to do.
Derek, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for sharing that.
Appreciate
I really
it.
appreciate it.
Glad to be
Awesome
here.
to have you. Again, you've been watching Shelf Life. I'm Kimberly Dykeman. The book is called Addict at 10. The author is Derek Steele, and we are so jazzed that you had a chance to join us today on Shelf Life. We'll see you real soon.